to the show.
What's going on?
Not much, man. Let's start off by telling our audience about you. Where are you from? That kind of thing.
Yeah, so I am from Pennsylvania. Just moved to Atlanta about a year and a half ago now. And moved down here to start a new life.
Cool. What do you think is one of the greatest lessons your parents taught you?
From my childhood, I would say indirectly, they taught me how not to live and how to be more frugal indirectly by watching them and understanding them. But directly, I think the biggest lesson my parents would have taught me was just instilling the self-confidence that you can do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it, and not letting anyone stop you at any point in your life.
That's good. Growing up, my parents, one of the things they always told me was, you are blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to actually realize that and to start telling myself that, but that always gave me the mentality that whatever I want to achieve in life, whatever I want to do, I can do it.
Yeah. It's powerful too.
Yeah.
Once you know that, and once you grow up with that, and
For
your
sure.
parents telling you that, it's like, it means a lot.
It wasn't until late middle school, early high school, I started to reprogram my mind and actually put that into practice, and start speaking to myself positively, and that's what changed my life, honestly.
Affirmations can do that.
For sure. I just kind of tricked myself into believing in myself.
That's the first step of it, though. Is you gotta believe it first, and then if you act and you believe it, it'll come.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us about the process of you being in high school and then transitioning over into the business area.
Yeah, so moved down here, and I was just freelancing at the time for social media clients that I had, making quite a bit of money for a
So
high
just
school
running
student.
ad campaigns for them.
Running ad campaigns, doing their growth, a little bit of content here and there, but mostly like growth and ad campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just freelancing, making good money for a high school student, but I wasn't really pushing myself at all. I was just
Right.
kind of just chilling because I was
Just
making
messing around.
because I was making. I mean, it was like $1,500 a month, but as
Yeah.
a high school student, it was awesome. So
For sure.
I was, I thought I was balling out. I moved down here, and knowing no one, having nothing to do in the summer, I was like, all right, well, I know no one, I have nothing to do. I started watching some YouTube videos, like getting pumped up. I'm like, all right, it's just time to work. Like, I don't know what else to do. So I'm like, all right, let's just focus on trying to build a business in the summer and see where it takes me.
Yeah.
So I start building up this business, and time comes around. And it's like, I built up the business the whole summer, and it's time to go back to school. And keep in mind, I know no one at this school, know nothing about this school. I've been here for like 2 months, but 2 months isn't really that long of a time when you're in your bedroom working the whole time. So
Right.
still don't know much. So go to school the first day, and I'm just like, I cannot be here. I'm interacting with these business people all summer. I'm interacting with like influential people here in Atlanta, and then it's like you throw me in a classroom with like kids that act like they're 12.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I cannot be here. So ended up transitioning to online school, and then completely dropping out because didn't feel that it was worth it for me at that point.
Yeah. So I know what you mean. It's like you're already doing what people go to school for, so why would you go to school anyway?
Right, and it was the other part of it that allowed me is like I would have to retake classes that I've already took because of moving down from a different state. And I'm just like, so for the next 2 years, I'm gonna basically be taking the same thing that I already took. So I already know it, so I'm not learning anything. So I'm literally wasting my time just to get a diploma.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be taking the classes I'm gonna be taking. I already have the basics out of the way.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna be taking like add-on classes. And at the school that I went to, I was like, okay, what are your business classes? And it was like marketing, business, and like generalized business and something else. I'm like, all right, I've already taken these. You don't have anything else? So like, no. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to be taking art class. Like, I don't like art, so I'm like, it's not worth my time to be there.
Yeah, I just want to shoot yourself while you're there.
Yeah, so it's like, I would just be miserable for those 2 years. I'd be setting myself back for 2 years. It was like, if I go now, I have a 2-year head start, and I can figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I sold my parents on it was not necessarily dropping out, because I had to kind of ease into it. So I went to online school. I was paying $5,000 a year for online high school, and I did that for like a month until I finally dropped out. So yeah, I mean, it was the way that I sold them is like, look, I can take these 2 years, build something. If I don't build something, my backup plan would be to go to college. Because either way, I can get my GED and still go to college.
Right.
But in these 2 years, I'd be wasting my time anyway, so why not do something productive with it?
Yeah.
And looking back, I can say now, after almost a year, it's 100% been the right decision.
Would you say it's the best decision you've ever made?
You know, I've made a lot of good decisions. In hindsight, made a lot of good decisions, made a lot of bad decisions, but it's definitely the most life-changing decision besides moving to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Besides deciding to move down here, because if I wasn't down here, I'd still be in high school for sure. So yes, I mean, it's changed my life for the better, way more than I would have ever thought, because there was, after being in it now, realizing that there is no downside to it. For my situation is unlike most other people, even the ones that want to drop out. So everyone's always like, yo, like, you know, I think I should drop out, and I'm just like, no, like, I don't think you should. If I were in your shoes, I wouldn't have. It was just my situation. I was like, it makes no sense for me.
And I was just about to ask, you know, what would your advice be to, you know, the average person that wants to drop out?
Well, the average person that wants to drop out, it doesn't make sense for them to.
Right.
For
they
me,
don't have a plan.
For the one, they don't have a plan, and two, they can do what they want while still working, or while still being in high school. They can take. There's times where I can see now, I could still be doing what I'm doing to an extent. Obviously, I couldn't be doing it full time. I wouldn't be at the income level that I am. I wouldn't be at the business level that I am if I was still in high school.
Yeah.
But I can still build a very successful business for a high schooler while still in high school.
You have a lot of free time when you're in high school.
You do, and there are some things that would still help me where it's like, and most of the people don't have structure. High school provides kids that are in high school with structure.
Yeah.
Once you lose that, they don't have. I don't know. I know maybe 3 or 4 people out of, I'm talking thousands.
Yeah.
Probably, like literally probably thousands I've come across that would actually have the structure to keep going at it.
Yeah, that discipline.
The discipline, because like I get up at 5:30 every morning. The one kid that I know, that I hired and partnered up with, he's, you know, out of high school now, but wakes up whenever he wants. Like the discipline isn't there. He will never grow to the level of just keeping that lifestyle. Like he thinks that he is.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't have the discipline.
Right. And that takes a lot of practice though in your own time, and to really make sure that once you get out of school and get out of something that forces you to be structured, that you
it's
train
hard.
yourself.
Yeah, and it's hard. It took, for me, a lot of people are like, how do you do it? It just feels normal to me. But
yeah, same here.
So it's like when you're in it feels normal.
I can't really tell you how to do that. Just
It
other than just do it.
Yeah, and
make it a habit.
People are like, how do you do that? And I'm just like, it feels normal. Same for you. It's like people that are billionaires are like, you know, how do you live like this? Like it's just normal to them.
Yeah, it becomes your normal.
It becomes normal. So I can't explain to you how to do it because it's just normal to me.
Yeah.
Like I set myself to where I don't act my age. It's like I act like I'm 10 years older, and I treat myself that way. I dress that way. I walk that way. Everything I do is to that level. That way, I'm 10 years ahead.
So, talking about these habits and things like that, what are some of your habits that maybe you practice in the morning or something like that that contributes to your success?
Yeah. I mean, I try to get up. So it's funny. I was actually just having lunch with my mentor and talking about this. So I'm the kind of guy that structure is amazing, but I have to change it up. There has to be variation in my structure. If not, I get too complacent, and when I get too complacent, I get less productive.
Yeah.
So I change it up. So I'll get up. So right now I'm on the kick of getting up at 5 to 5:30 every morning. I wake up, I journal. I do the Tim Ferriss journal.
Yeah.
You do that too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I do the Tim Ferriss journal. I write down my bullet points, everything like that, action points. Then I do the ab wheel. I do that just to get me kind of like a light workout. Then I'll get right to work. I chug some water. Get right to work. I'll work until usually about 8:30. Then I'll hit the gym because my focus kind of goes less. Hit the gym if I don't have anything that morning that I have to be to. Come back and bam, right back to work. But that's usually my morning routine to get me up, motivated.
Yeah.
In the afternoons, my productivity level kind of goes down, usually between, usually between 1:30, 3 o'clock, anywhere in between there. I'll usually pick up a book and read for about a half hour and then jump back into work.
Okay.
So those are like my only real habits, but it'll change. So right now I'm on the kick of waking up at 5:30.
Yeah, mine changed as well.
Okay, so
I mean,
do you change from morning person to night person?
What do you mean by that?
So like I'll wake up at 5:30 now, but then I'll change it so I'm almost nearing my cycle here to where I'll get complacent again.
So you'll sleep in maybe a
So-
little bit more and then you'll stay up later.
I'll stay up until about 3 a.m. working. I'll be more productive at night. Yeah, so I'll stay up about 3 a.m. I'll go to sleep and instead of getting up at 5:30, I'll wake up at like 8:30.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll take a nap in between there too.
I think that it usually varies for me if I don't have any type of schedule.
Mhm.
Like right now I'm in school,
Right.
so I'll usually try to go to bed by 12:30.
Yeah,
But if I don't have any classes, usually I'm up late at night.
gotcha. Now do you get up at the same time every morning?
During class, yes.
Okay.
So the past 2 weeks of class, my schedule has been waking up about 6:30,
Mm-hmm.
drink a ton of water,
I'm with you.
and then go for about a mile walk.
Okay.
And I'll try to make it barefooted. It sounds weird.
No, that's grounding, right?
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
grounding. A lot of people just think it's the weirdest
No,
thing.
I've done that before.
Like the other morning, I was walking around this complex, and this one guy pulls up beside me in his car. He's like, "You looking for something?" And I was like, "No, man, just go for a morning walk."
They don't get it.
They don't. So I'll try to go for about a mile walk. It's been kind of chilly, but usually if the sun's out, I try to take my shirt off and get as much sun as possible.
Flex the abs.
Oh yeah, get that vitamin D, and then come back here, shower, and drink as much water as I can
I'm with
because
you.
I'm just so tired if I don't drink water.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually after I shower, I'll journal, and my journaling changes quite often, but most of the time, what I do is write down at least 3 things that I'm grateful for.
I'm with you. That's the Tim
And-
Ferriss rule.
Yeah, and if I can do at least 3 of those things, I want to write more.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can write down 3 things.
Right. It's easy.
Yeah, and so that's one of the biggest things that I've seen make an impact in my life
Okay.
is the practice of gratitude. And then
Is making your bed.
yeah,
So
I do that too.
Okay,
I do
yeah.
that
So
too.
I always make sure to do that. Always.
Uh-huh.
Except I make my bed very sloppily, but just the
throw
fact
the
that you do
blanket
it,
back over.
pretty much.
The first time I heard about that. It was one of Goldcast's videos of
Okay.
the Navy
I've,
SEAL.
I've
It's
seen
like,
that before.
if you want to change
Yep.
the world, start by making your bed.
Yep, I've seen that video.
I love that video for some reason, but I
Yeah.
was like, if he's right. If you make your bed, and if nothing else goes right the rest of the day, you can come home to a bed that was made by you.
Mhm.
So you have that one thing to be proud about.
Yeah.
At least one good thing.
But it's
happen.
impactful in the sense that you do one simple task without even thinking about it, and it just triggers you to go on to the next and the next and complete it.
It builds momentum.
Yeah. And the momentum in the
For
mornings
sure.
is powerful to carry you throughout the day. I always know that if I can control the first 30 minutes of my day, I'll be able to control the rest of my day.
Yeah.
That's usually how it is. If I wake up and if it's like an off day or something, and like everyone has their days where like I wake up and I'm just like, oh, I just want to like snooze, and like I know that day that I'm gonna be less productive than the days that I get up and I fucking grip the day,
And so many people though, keep hitting the snooze button, and then they're in a rush the rest of the morning. I'm like, why would you
And
want
it
to do
throws
that
their
to
whole day
yourself?
off.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it feels good to sleep in, but if you actually wake up a few minutes earlier and give yourself time to relax, it makes your whole rest of the day so much better.
Right. And it's not only that, it's about the mentality.
Yeah.
That's what changes,
Mhm.
that most people don't realize.
I'm in such a better mood if I can have that first hour of my day
I'm with you.
how I want it to be.
I'm with you.
So, you talked about mentors earlier.
Yeah.
What would you... At what point did you realize you needed mentors?
That's something my dad always told me because he mentored some like underprivileged kids. So it's something he always told me, but I never realized the importance of it.
Yeah.
I was lucky where my mentor kind of came to me and started helping me I didn't go searching for mentoring.
Okay.
It kind of just came to me, and he just started kind of helping me as a friend.
Mhm.
And then it transitioned into, he doesn't, like, I'll say he's my mentor, and I'll be like, no, we're just friends.
Yeah.
So, like, whenever I introduce people to him. So, my main mentor, I was lucky that he found me. I wasn't even looking. I mean, it just started by, I ran into him at my office. I was in WeWork co-working space. And we just ran into each other, and he's like, oh, we should grab lunch sometime. Grab lunch, and he just blew my mind. In one lunch, I was like, do you ever come out of something where it's like, it may be an hour of your time, and like, your complete perspective just changed?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're like, wow.
That's how I am after meeting with my mentor.
Yeah, and so that's when I was like, okay, now I realize like the important, like after that first time, I was like, that's when I realized the importance of a mentor.
Yeah. What was one of the biggest breakthroughs you think you had in that first meeting?
The best thing, and to this day, it's helped my business scale to no end, was he's like, well, like, what's your process for your business? And I had no process at the time.
Yeah.
I was just focused on like sales, like who's got my money, like
Yeah,
Grant
yeah.
Cardone always says. Like that's what I was after. That's
Right.
the only thing I was thinking about. And he's like, well, I went through a time where like I started building up a lot of clients, and I lost about 60% of my revenue, 60% of my clients, because my quality got to shit, terrible. Because I was just focused on bringing more and more in, and
Yeah.
I had no process, no nothing. I had about 3 guys working for me at the time, 3 freelancers, and each day I would just be like, all right, you go and do this, you go and do that, you go and do that. No systems, no process, nothing.
Yeah.
So putting the systems and process in place, working with him to do that, completely changed my business, and I can't even look at businesses that don't have it now. But it's something that my parents didn't have in their business, and they built a pretty successful business. But if they would have had systems and processes to grow, to keep their quality, everything like that, their business would have gone far beyond what it did.
Many people, I think they overthink processes though. Like, people will talk about having systems and processes in business, and people are like, what does that mean? The average person. So
Right.
how would you explain that to...
Well, there's a
average
balance. So I'm the kind of person that just start driving the car, and we'll build the rest of the car as we go. Like, we get the engine in the car, and we'll build the rest as we're driving
Yeah.
180. Like, I'm just go. And so it allowed me to see more of, when I brought another gentleman into my business, he's more, let's stop and think about things.
Okay.
And so here's the difference that I've noticed is people are either want to put no systems and processes in place and just go, which is where I was, or they want to spend all the time figuring out all the systems and processes in place, but they never get off the ground.
Yeah.
So I think the balance is, and what a couple of my mentors have told me is always get the base in line, and you put the foundation of how you want the company set up. If we're using a company, for example, I mean, you could use systems and processes for your life, everything, in your habits. So you get the base in place, and you hit the ground running, because a lot of the times you may spend hours, days, weeks, years setting something up you never end up using, or you never get off the ground. So for business, for example, my mentor is like, look, you set up the fundamentals of how you want the company, and let's say you hire a CFO at some point, you let him figure out the way that those processes are going to work, because he's going to have a better understanding of how they're going to work, of how you will in terms of financial. Like, stick to what you're good at, stick to setting up the company, and let each branch set up their own systems and processes. Okay. And that way you can bring someone else in after that guy leaves and everything's set up and he understands it. Right. Because if you spend your time branching out trying to do each little one, it's never going to get off the ground. Yeah. But you have to make sure that they're in line with the overall company's message or branding, their system, the company culture. Because if not, then everything's going to become moving. Right. It's fascinating to me.
So you're looking as almost like outsourcing and delegating.
Yeah, and you can't do a business without it. Yeah. You just stay a small business.
And like you said, focusing on too many things will bring failure. And if you do, it's like what they say, less is more. So
it's true.
It seems contradictory, but if you focus on less, like I think there's like a study, it's like you can only focus on maybe 3 big things at once.
Yeah, I believe it.
And
it's almost the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
80% of your results are going to come from 20% of them. So it's like, I try and focus on, and with my mentor, so my one mentor explained to me, and I don't know who said it, oh man, one of the big guys was saying, as a business owner, in the beginning, obviously you have to do the things to set up the company. Right. But as you progress, you have to get to different levels. So you should only be, at the point where I'm at in my business, I should only be focusing on tasks that make me $1,000 an hour. If I can try and work my way up to there, then once you hit that point, then it's 5,000, it's 10,000. Eventually, a guy like Jeff Bezos, he's not going to take on a task unless it's going to make him, for that hour that he spends, a few million. Most likely, right? Of course, everyone, but generally speaking, like Jeff Bezos isn't going to be sitting there coding Amazon.com.
Right.
So he's going to pay someone even $100 an hour, which is a very high rate to do that for him.
Yeah.
It's not worth his time. So as you're building and scaling your business, you have to hit these different levels. And keep in mind, it's like right now, if I were to be, and you have to understand what your time is worth. So if I were to be doing a $10 an hour task, I'm wasting my time and I'm hurting the rest of my company, because I can just pay someone to delegate that to, and I can be focusing on something that's going to make hundreds an hour, thousands an hour.
Right.
Which may be setting up a sales process. That way I can bring someone in and that person generates $2 million a year in revenue for me, and I spent X amount of hours building that up. Well, that just made me $5,000 an hour. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, I think it was in Grant Cardone's Millionaire booklet.
I just started reading that. I just read it. I just read that for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, I remember seeing this chart where it was, how to make $1 million, and there's all these different ways of doing it.
You saw my Instagram story.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But for those listening and watching, it basically shows the steps of making $1 million. So for example, the bottom one is what? You get this on your phone.
So the premise is that you can have X amount of people pay you X amount per month to get to $1 million a year, or you can have X amount of people pay you X amount for a one-time product or service to get to $1 million per year. Shoot, I don't have it saved.
It was like 12 people pay you $375, or no, $300. I think it was like $275. Yeah. So you have 12 people pay you $275 a month for 12 months. There's $1 million. And then the next one, less people paying you more.
Yeah, so it's sell a $200 product to 5,000 people, or you can sell all the way up to a $4,000 product to 250 people.
Mm-hmm.
You can do 5,000 people pay $17 a month for a year, or you can do 250 people pay $333 a month for a year. And there's all these different steps. So if you think about it in terms of that, there's all these different levels that you can get to $1 million a year. And when you break it down that way,
it looks so simple.
It looks so simple, so simple. And so I see on here now. So here's what I was referring to earlier in terms of the tasks. So it starts out at $100 per hour task. So $0 an hour, which is like watching Netflix, checking Facebook and Instagram just as a point, to $10 an hour tasks, which is what you should be outsourcing. So someone buying your groceries, cooking your meals. Eventually, once you get to a point, obviously there's an extent to which these overlap, where it's like if you're broken, obviously you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
But you should be working to progress up the level. So $10 an hour, customer support, answering phone calls, so at which point you can hire an assistant or a VA, sending emails, editing your website, spell checking, everything like that. Then $100 an hour, which would be consultant level, where it could be managing pay-per-click ads if you're in that realm, or writing content, writing books, because you can have ghostwriters, anything like that. And just working your way up, that way you're only focusing on tasks that are worth your time.
Mm-hmm. That's such a powerful tool to realize.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people don't realize it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You can pay anybody to do anything.
Right. And they don't see the value where, let's say you have $5,000 saved up and you're hustling. It's like, okay, well now if I invest into a virtual assistant for $30 an hour, which is like extremely high, but let's just say you need like the best of the best. Now it's going to free up 20 hours of my time, which I can go out and close new clients for, and one deal is going to make me $50,000
right.
a year.
So, there's probably some people out there listening and watching that, they say, well, yeah, that'd be so cool to have someone do this stuff for me, but how do I get to that point where I can hire other people?
Right.
So what would you say to that?
I mean, hey, that's up to them how they make their money.
Yeah.
It's
what
about
would you say is a
understanding.
good starting point, though?
In terms of a good starting point for what?
For someone that wants to begin the process of starting a business.
You just got to start. That's all it comes down to. No one wants. I get DMs from people all the time on Instagram. How do I get started? And I just laugh. I'm like,
just start.
Start. What do you mean? Like, what? Just start. No one wants to just start. There's, I don't have any money, so I didn't have any money. I was making like $1,500 a month, spending $1,500 a month. I had like $80 in my bank account when I started.
Yeah.
Okay, then they don't have any money, or the next common excuse is like, oh, I don't have any time. Well, that's bullshit, because you just watched the last season of Grey's Anatomy. Oh, sorry, I have a job already.
Yeah.
Dude, like, those people are never going to get started. They come with the excuses. There's an underlying reason there. They're either scared to fail, they're always going to say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start a business, but they're never going to do it. Mm-hmm. And they're always going to have a reason why.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't want to help those people. Those people I want to be involved with. I'd rather deal with the person that says, hey, I started and I just failed. How do I learn what I just did?
Here.
I don't want to deal with people who don't want to get started, because they're just going to waste your time. They're never going to get started.
Yeah.
Until they change their mindset.
Yeah, that's good. I'm trying to think of the next topic we should discuss. What do you think?
I don't know. I was interested to hear your thoughts on what you think about for like people trying to get into this is something I was curious with, for people trying to work their way up to the speaking world. It's like, how do you relate your message, and how do you touch someone in the audience, and when you're speaking to, it could be 20,000 people maybe.
Yeah. So one thing that I learned from Les, one thing that kind of stuck with me, is that it's a lot of times when you are about to speak to an audience, you tend to think about, what do I want to say to these people? Mm-hmm. But then Les turns it around and he says, what do these people need to hear?
Interesting.
So, and this kind of changes in the last moments before you go out there and speak too, because you can have a whole thing planned, but then you go out and you start talking to the audience beforehand. You get to meet these people, and you actually see, what do they need to hear, and you may change some things at the last minute that'll impact, that will impact them.
That
they
audience
can take
specifically.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if not, you would just be up there talking, and you won't get any feedback from them.
Because they can't relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, if there's someone out there that wants to get into speaking, I would say Toastmasters is the best place to start. And if you can't do that, then just go anywhere and start speaking.
Right,
Speak
right.
to your freaking dog if you want to, your family. But Toastmasters is where I got started. And through that, I built up a ton of confidence being in front of people. I can talk to pretty much anybody about anything. We would practice table topics.
That's impactful.
Yeah, and you're given a topic and you got to talk about that. You don't even know what it is before you get up there. Someone will hand you a card and you got to talk about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes, and you can take that however you want to.
Right.
And but you got to make it good. You can't just say nothing.
Right.
So you're forced to think on your feet. So yeah, I was able through Toastmasters to build up the confidence to talk about anything to anybody, and once I did that and became pretty good at it, I started reaching out to other places, such as Rotary clubs, Kiwanis clubs, which are community organizations that do a lot for people less fortunate. And then I started reaching out to middle schools and high schools and after school programs. I've spoken to a few junior beta clubs and things like that. But the one thing that I focus on when I'm speaking to someone is, how can I bring the most value?
That's what's impactful.
Yeah,
I mean, otherwise,
yeah. It's not about me. It's
right. I know a lot of people, as we were talking about before, they don't understand that. They're trying to go up there and do what's in their best interest.
They want to go up there and look like the big shot.
Yep.
And it's easy.
A competition between
I've done
the
that.
speakers.
I've been there. I've done that.
Everyone has.
And that was one thing. I've done a lot of speech competitions within Toastmasters, and I don't know. It's just that's not what I'm there for. I'm not there to win the competition.
Right.
You're
there to help the people in the audience.
Yeah, they judge on how many ums or ahs you have. They judge on grammatical errors, that kind of thing, how impactful the message was. But it doesn't even really matter how impactful the message was. The message is for at least one person.
Right. So if you can just change one person.
Right. That's all I'm there for.
Right. No, that's impactful. But if you're speaking in front of 10 people, 20 people, 10,000 people, you know that you're going to at least hit one person.
Right.
Then you could literally change their life.
Yeah. And especially, I've spoken to quite a few kids. Mm-hmm. And so I always just try to think of, keep in mind the picture of this kid in the room who I was just like, that has a low self-confidence, doesn't believe in themselves, doesn't think that what they want in life is possible, that maybe at home they don't have the best situation. I didn't have that situation. I had a really good family, but I know there's, people out there that grow up in pretty rough situations. But I always just try to keep in mind those guys, the small guy. Mm-hmm.
And no one else in the room could know what he's going through.
Right.
But you can't even talk to him and understand what he's going through.
Yeah.
He won't even tell you.
Yeah.
But you being up there and you saying some stuff, that'll hit him.
And I remember, the first motivational speaker I started listening to was Les Brown. We talked a lot about him. And he tells a story about how when he was in middle school, I'm sure you've heard this story, but for the sake of the audience, I'll tell it again. But when Les was in, I think it was his 11th grade, his junior year, he just gotten his report card, and it read that he had failed history and he had failed English, and that he was going to have to go to summer school. And if he failed that, he's going to be held back again. And so he was looking at this, and he was so down, depressed, beating himself up about it. How was he going to tell this to his mom? That kind of thing. And so then he realized that this one teacher, who was also his mentor at the time, his name was Mr. Leroy Washington. He was giving a speech to the graduating seniors. And he went into the auditorium, and he wasn't supposed to be in there. It was just supposed to be for the seniors. But he had this feeling within his heart that speech was for him. So he goes in, just stands in the back, and Mr. Washington, he's up there giving a speech, and he's saying, to the graduating class of Booker T. Washington High School, I want you to know that you are blessed and highly favored, and that as you go towards the future, begin to realize that you're blessed and highly favored, and that you have the responsibility to manifest your greatness. And that if you do realize this, you can make your parents proud, you can make your school proud, you can touch millions of people's lives, and the world will never be the same again. And so Les, he was in the back just getting chills from this thing, and tears were rolling down his eyes. He was so emotional from it because he realized that he can make his parents proud. Even though he's a failure on paper, he can still make a difference somehow. And as Mr. Washington was finishing up his speech, the students gave him a standing ovation, and he was walking outside to his car, and Les chased him out to the parking lot, and he said, "Mr. Washington." And Mr. Washington turned around and said, "Yes?" And he said, "I don't know if you remember me, but I'm Les Brown. I'm Miss Mamie Brown's boy, and she works in the cafeteria. I'm one of the twins, Leslie and Wesley." And he was like, "Do you remember me?" And Mr. Washington's like, "No." And and he says, "Well, Mr. Washington, I've got this dream, sir. I want to speak to people. I want to help people. I've got this dream of buying my mother a home. Could I do that, Mr. Washington?" And Mr. Washington turns to him again, and he says, "It's possible, Mr. Brown." And he turns towards his car once again, and Les calls out to him and says, Mr. Washington." And he says, "Yes, what do you want now?" And Les says, "I'm the one, sir. I'm the one. You remember me, sir." And then, years down the road after Les had made it pretty big as a motivational speaker, he gets a call from Mr. Washington, and he says, "May I speak to Les Brown, please?" And Les says, "Who's calling?" He says, "You know who this is." He says, "Ah, it's you, Mr. Washington." He says, and Mr. Washington says to Les, he says, "You were the one, weren't you?" And I love that story so much
awesome.
Because, Les, he was the one in that crowd. There may not have been anybody else in that audience that felt touched by Mr. Washington's message, but Les was that one.
He was that one out of hundreds.
Yes, and he was, born on a freaking floor of an abandoned building, grew up dirt poor, and became multi-millionaire, #1 motivational speaker on the planet.
Yep.
Because of the words of Mr. Washington.
Literally doing his dream and speaking in front of. I mean, he's the largest at the Georgia Dome.
Yeah.
What
was that?
80,000?
80,000, yeah. My parents were actually there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I would have killed to be there, man. It's like, that goes down as like one of the best in all time, man.
And the ending to that speech, the 30-second quote, I end quite a few of my speeches with that as well, and always credit it to him and the guy who wrote that little poem. I think it's Burton Braley.
Which quote is that?
It says, "If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, nor gout, sickness nor pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you will get it."
Damn.
Yeah. So
you that fires you up.
Oh man, I usually in the mornings I usually say that aloud because saying that over and over and listening to that same speech so many freaking times, changed my life. So anytime I say that out loud,
that's awesome. I can just tell like that fires me up. See how fired up you are.
I know.
That's crazy.
So going back to the question about speaking, I think it's just focusing on how can you help at least one person in that audience.
Yeah. And you could literally change people's lives that way.
Yeah.
It happens.
Because if you just focus on that one person, then there's bound to be more than one person.
There is. And the funny thing is that you don't even know. I'm sure you've changed people's lives that you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know.
For sure.
But it's just you have to know that you're doing that, and it keeps you motivated, keeps you going.
You may not You may not ever get credit for it, but that's okay.
But it's not about the credit.
Right.
The people that want it for the credit are in it for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like I actually had a kid call me up yesterday. I've been doing I went and spoke at a high school last year, and he's like, yeah, he's like, we want to have you as like our mentor, as our lead mentor. He's like, but all these kids, they look up to you now after you've been here. They picked you out of everyone that came in. They had about 12 guest speakers last year. One big guy too, and they were like, who do we want as our lead mentor? Who do we want to ask first? And they called me up, and that just made me feel good. It's like I don't do it for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's just like
Yeah,
like,
but when you do hear those things, it brings so much joy and fulfillment to your heart.
Yeah, and not even doing it for that, but just having it happen.
Yeah, you're just a vessel for God, Creator, whatever you want to call it.
And to do your thing and then go out and do it with all your heart.
Yeah. So you're big into business. So what would you say is your mission, your purpose here?
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's going to change, but
it is going to change. I mean, I'm just focused on. I think my mission was. There is no set mission for me. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my mission is. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I know that if I'm going to be the best version of myself, one, I'm going to have a great time. Because I'm the personality type. I just find such joy in trying to be the process of trying to be the best version of myself. You'll never be the best version of yourself. It's constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
But just that journey of trying to get there.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. It's all about that journey, the process.
It fires me up.
Oh yeah.
And that's and I know that on that journey I'm going to impact so many different lives. So I know that I'm going to be the happiest doing that. I'm going to positively impact so many different lives.
Mm-hmm.
Already have, which goes back to the happiness factor. And I'm going to make a lot of money doing so.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people don't want to mention that, but you got to make money too.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make money in order to help other people.
Yeah. And so that's really where I'm at now with my mission is just knowing within myself, if I can be the best version of myself, the rest will come. Because if I'm the best version of myself in each area, it's all going to come together and manifest into one.
Right.
But business has been my medium to achieve.
Yeah.
So I focus strongly on business. I love business.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else, business is all about yourself though.
Yeah.
Not meaning selfishness, but meaning the business can only be as good as you are. So if you stop learning,
your business is a reflection of you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And your team. But if you can't be the best version of yourself, if you stop learning, your business is going to stop growing.
Right.
If you stop taking your health seriously, you can't operate your business if you're sitting in a hospital bed. So it just comes together, and it's like all together to me. It's like it just makes the most sense, and it's like that's my mission. That's what I'm going out and I'm doing every day.
It's like being a superhero almost.
That's how you have to look at it. I'm so fired up by it. Like
I know.
You need something that gets you fired up every day. That's what gets me fired up. It's like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do my best today. I'm gonna be my best self. I'm gonna learn today. I'm gonna perform my best today. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna help people out today. That's part of it too. I realized. Yeah. And I'm still realizing it as we go, and sort of what balances I need and stuff like that. And it's just that's what gets me fired up.
One idea that I absolutely love is the idea that you are the hero of your own story.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah. So one thing that I always remind myself of as often as possible, especially in the morning, is what would the hero of my movie or my story be doing right now at this moment, and what would they be doing the rest of the day? Because then I'll always picture, like a Rocky montage where, they're running on the beach working out, like
the pump.
Going
nuts, yeah.
Like I want to be doing that. I want to be working on myself and constantly getting better and better and better.
That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about.
And then showing other people how to do that.
What personality type are you? Do you know? Have you taken that?
It's been a while since I've taken the, what was it?
Myers-Briggs?
Myers-Briggs, yeah.
Do you know which one you are?
Let me pull this up real quick.
I just find it so interesting.
Yeah,
I do. What different people are.
I always forget. I don't know why I always forget it. And I guess I take these tests and I guess I used to try to identify as much as possible with it, but it's never going to be 100% who you are, and you're going to constantly changing. So I guess that's why I never take it too seriously.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people should take it too seriously.
Yeah.
It's about you can better understand yourself from it, but don't use it too literally.
Right.
Excuse me.
Took this test through it may have been through Ty Lopez's website. Let me see. I know I have it here somewhere. Oh, well, I can't find it.
Yeah,
do you remember any of the titles of them?
I know I'm the debater, which is ENTPA. That's what I am. So what they have, like the debater, they have the inspector, they have the entertainer, there's so many, there's like 16 or something.
I'm trying to remember. I honestly cannot remember. I guess
commander. There's so many, but yeah, I just find it interesting to understand where the people are.
Yeah, I do too. I'll have to take it again after we're done here and let you know. And then I can also let other people know. I'll probably post it to social media.
Yeah, you should.
But yeah, I guess since I'm so young, I don't want to be tied to one.
No, and that's good because a lot of people will stay tied. They'll be like, well, that's who I am, and then that may not be who they are.
Right. Yeah.
So people take things, and my mentor was, in a way, showed me this, and I kind of developed it on my own. It's like people, now that I've seen it, it's like people take things where it's like, I can tell you what's been good for me, and they'll try and like literally take that and apply it directly to their life instead of shaping it into what makes sense for them.
Yeah. People love to identify with things.
It's crazy. They love to identify, but it could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
And they'll take things that other people did, and it could be. It's like, I'll look at it and be like, oh, I did this because so and so did it, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, how did that make any sense? Like, oh, well, it worked for them. Like, what are you them? Were you in their position?
Right. You gotta take things and modify them.
Yes. Take the ideas and then modify them to where you're at.
What works for you.
Yep.
And that's a lot of what I see with these influencers, things like that. People will constantly be listening, become such huge fans of people like Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, and then they'll be given the chance to ask them a question. And then they'll come to them with these questions, but these questions, they're exactly like other people's questions, but they think that their problems are so unique. But if they'll just take the time to, examine themselves, write down what's going on in their life, and actually try to take a moment and figure out what's going on, they could actually solve quite a bit of their problems on their own.
Yeah, they want everyone else to identify what they should do. Yeah. So
they want their hands held.
Yeah, and this girl actually did it this past weekend. She asked Grant Cardone, and she was like, Grant, she was like, what's your advice to me? and he's like, in regards to what? Like, that was literally just her question. And everyone in the crowd kind of chuckles a little bit. And she's like, well, I'm just looking for motivation from you that could get me started. And he kind of laughs a little bit more. He's like, everyone's like, all right, this. And he's like, he picks up the microphone. How he is, and he's like, all right. He's like, where are you lacking at? And she goes, well, I just wanted motivation from you. He's like, you want motivation? He's like, just go out and get your money. Like, that's what I told her. And she's like, no. She's like, I didn't want that. So now he, instead of like going on to the next question, he finds this intriguing.
Yeah.
So he's like, what are you really struggling with? He's like, it's not money. He's like, you're at this event, you paid for this event. He's like, if it's money, he's like, if you're piss poor broke, he's like, you're at this event, you're obviously doing well. He goes, where are you from? She goes, Mexico. And he goes, so what's your real question for me? And she's like, well, I guess I answered it, that I need to go and figure it out. He goes, I think you did too. Next question. So it was just intriguing to see people ask the dumbest questions just because they think that someone else is a god, that whatever they would say is what's best for them.
Right. And usually when you expect these big, huge, complicated answers, it's the simplest ones will suffice.
So simplest. So it's all so simple. Everyone just makes it so.
People overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
If you just break it down one step at a time, like it's kind of like when you're doing exercises. Let's say you're doing a set of 15. That's 3 sets of 5, and then you break that down.
if you look at it in terms of, I need to go from 0 to 10 million a year, right? If you're trying to gauge your business that way, you're gonna be like, well, I don't. It's too hard. But if you say, all right, let's go from 0 right now, let's get to 10 grand a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you work towards that, you get there. Okay, let's go to 100 grand a month. Okay, let's get it, and then you just keep building up that way.
I mean, it's good to have these huge goals, but then you got to break those down so they can be manageable.
And a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
Which is key, and that's part of like what I have to tell people all the time, because they'll you know, I don't know it all, and I tell them that right off the bat. People ask me for advice all the time. Like, look, I'm not really the person to ask. I don't know it all. No one knows it all. No one's going to know what's best for you. If someone tells you they know what's best for you, don't listen to them because they're already wrong.
Right.
So I can tell you what I would do in your situation. I can sort of give you pointers on what I see, but don't take what I say literally because I don't know your situation.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, this is what works for me. Take it. If it works for you, great.
Yeah, but they have to modify it, like we said, to them.
Yeah.
Can't take it literally.
It's great. For sure. All right, what else we got, man?
What else we got? Can we go through all those?
Let's see, what else we got here? Who are your top 3 role models? Let's go with that one.
Role models. Top 3, you said?
Yeah.
Elon Musk has always been a big one.
That's one of my big ones, too.
I love Elon Musk. I've been following Elon Musk
intriguing.
since before people even know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
See, role models, I mean, there's so many different people that I take from, but
there's
so many, but like 3 people exactly. It's like, if I were to say I want to be exactly like that person, I'd be wrong because I have to take knowledge from these people and apply it to me. So Elon Musk, I mean, I love Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I love Tony Robbins.
I love
Les
all
Brown.
those guys.
Les Brown is by far one of my favorites, so that's how we connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different people.
I know, like, it's hard for me to pick top role models, but Les Brown will definitely be at the top of my list.
Yeah,
always
for
will
sure.
be.
Same.
But there's just so many other people out there. Like my brother and I, we listen to so many podcasts and follow so many people. Like Mind Pump Media podcast, we follow that one. We follow like Mike Bledsoe, Aubrey Marcus, so many others. It's like there's so much information out there.
Right, there is, and it's never been that accessible.
Yeah.
We're living in a crazy time. I just get fired up by the time that we're living in.
I know.
It has now been the longest that we've had a bull market.
Yeah.
Greatest economy for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think like our grandparents, great grandparents. I don't know. We're living in the Depression.
Yeah.
Like, and we're sitting here in the best economy for the longest time.
Sucked for them.
Like, and people are walking around like that, saying they're like, "Oh, I can't get a job. Oh, I'm gonna be in debt."
There's money everywhere.
There's money if you find it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I like what Gary Vaynerchuk's been doing lately, the Flip Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's talking about how money is absolutely everywhere. You just look around your house. You have things to sell.
Yeah.
And then if you go to Craigslist, there's a category called free. And you just hit those people up, say, hey, can I come pick this up? Go pick it up, and then you sell it.
It's crazy.
Pure profit.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And people are...
They still won't do it. They'd rather just sit there and watch Netflix.
It's all about the mindset.
Yeah. I think it takes so much work to go out and do this stuff, but in reality, it takes just as much work to do that as it does to, go out and party on a Friday night. As much work as it takes to, I don't know, take a dog for a walk.
It's about the mental energy of doing it. Once you're actually doing it, it's not that hard.
It goes back to overcomplicating things.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't remember who talked about this, but they were saying how when you're planning to do something, if you plan to go to the gym, a lot of people, this is the example that it was. A lot of people plan to go to the gym, but then when they think about going to the gym, they overcomplicate it because they think, oh, I got to get ready for the gym. Oh, I got to drive to the gym. Oh, I got to get out of fight traffic. And then, then I'll get to the gym. But then, if you take the same idea and you say, oh, let's go to the beach. People are like, oh, you just say, oh, I just grab my stuff, get up and go to the beach. They don't think about all those steps in between.
Nope.
They overcomplicate.
And it's about the mental aspect of it. It's just crazy.
Yeah. What else we got here? So, What book are you reading right now? That's a good question.
I'm going back through Think and Grow Rich. I just finished. It'll be my second time sort of going back through it. I just finished a couple good books. Next on my list is Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Need to read that one.
Mark Manson, or Mark Manson?
I don't know.
It's Mark something.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's next on my list after Think and Grow Rich. So
I've heard that one's really good.
Yeah, my intern was just reading it. He's like, you gotta read it.
So since this is what time did you say going through Think and Grow Rich? Second. What was one of the biggest things you pulled out of it the first time you read it?
The book has so much, and like we said, it's almost hard to understand in a way.
Yeah.
You have to go back through it a second time to
reread it.
Yeah. So I think it's about the mindset is different. You have to think, literally think. You can't think, how do I make $10? You have to think about million, billion-dollar problems and how to solve those and put yourself in those. Rather than if you think small, you're going to get small money.
Right.
If you think big, you're going to get big money. And it's about the mental capacity, and in a way it goes into the law of attraction.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Indirectly, in a way, it goes into that. So it's just fascinating to me. I mean, it's like you put the energy into the universe and you work towards it, it'll come your way.
One of the biggest things for me was changing my views and mindset around money, because it's easy to be in the mindset of lack.
Yes.
Thinking there's not enough to go around.
Right.
And thinking that
instead of abundance.
Right. And when you go to purchase something, and especially something that's going to benefit you, such as a training program or something like that, you got to think of it as an investment as opposed to just losing money to this one thing.
Right. And it almost comes back to I know I mentioned Henry Ford in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it's like he didn't think about it's the way that I take it from there is you have to think about, okay, they may not accept your product yet. Like he always says, like, if I would have asked my customers what it, they would have said a faster horse, right, instead of a car, because no one knew what a car was yet. So you have to think about the problems and understand how to solve them, and understand that if you can solve these big problems, the big money will come.
Right. I think it was Elon Musk who said the amount of money you earn is in direct proportion to the level of problem that you solve.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
So if you want $1 million, solve $1 million problem.
Yep. And help 1 million people. Or
yeah.
I mean,
going back to what we were saying earlier, there's so many ways to do that.
So many ways. It's crazy.
Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years from now. I ask myself that a lot, but it changes all the time. So I just see myself continuing to work on whatever business I'm in at that time, because I think I will sell my agency by then. So continuing to work on whatever business I'm in and really just keep hustling away. I mean, 10 years is still so young. So
yeah, I know, for real.
So it's like, just keep hustling away.
I remember Matthew McConaughey in one of his speeches, he was asked, we're asked when we're little, who's our hero? And when he was asked that, he realized his hero is himself 5 years from now. And then his hero at all times is himself 5 years from now, or 10 years from now. I thought that was such a cool perspective.
That is, yeah. I never thought about that before. Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Got my mind racing now.
I know, it's so
crazy.
interesting to think about, like, my hero is myself 10 years from now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Damn, that's awesome.
So if you could go back, before you started your business, what would your advice be to yourself? Or to your younger self?
I would probably say, don't take it as seriously, in a way, because
life, or
no, I mean, I kind of have the mindset, like I kind of have the mindset that like nothing really bothers me, nothing affects me. I'm not trying to be like cold-hearted, but
Yeah.
I kind of am in a way. I'm cold-hearted in a way. Like things just don't bother me like other people. I don't have like a great emotional connection to people, and
Yeah.
it even says that in my personality type. And it's like, man, I relate to that. Like that's something that's very on point. So I kind of like look at life as like a game, right? Like stuff will happen to you, you just can't take seriously. Like even if it's big stuff, that's just the way I've learned to deal with things. But like don't take it as seriously as being hard on yourself, because like I was like, oh well, in the beginning, like, well, I need to get to this revenue number, I need to get that, and then it comes, and you're like, well, like my whole thing was like, okay, I want to make like 60 grand a year. And like when I was starting, I was like, that'd be insane, and like I get there like way faster than I thought, and I'm just like, well, what was it all for? Like, what was the sacrifice for? Like, and I like hit that point, and like I didn't realize it until like a little bit later, and then I like realized, oh, I hit that, and I'm like almost like not depressed, but I was just like thinking like, well, what was it all for?
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like took away the momentum, and I'm just like, well, it was like, okay, well, now what's next?
Yeah.
And it's about having something that's constantly evolving, and that's when I really realized like firsthand, like it's all about the process. So it's not taking it seriously and just loving the process.
Yeah, I think it was Norman Vincent Peale. He says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So it's constantly having a goal in mind and pursuing that.
Right. And like that was one of my goals, but it's about having the longer term goal and sticking with the process the long term. Yeah, I mean, I completely believe in that now, and that's something. Yeah, I mean, so I would say don't take it as seriously and just be in love with the process of it, because that's all you have. Like that's once you get to the point, it's like, what was it all for?
And it sounds so cheesy because you see it on social media all the time. All in love with the process, but it's.
I never understood it until, like, I had a first-hand realization of it, and I was like, damn, like, that's. I mean, that was like the most impactful thing to me so far. Like, I was like, damn, like, because now it's like I apply that to like everything in my life, and it's like now whenever I want something and I achieve it, I'm just like, okay, what's the next thing? Like, so like I've been wanting to buy like a nice car for a while, but I'm just like I'm holding off, because it's like once I get there, I'm just gonna be like back in the process again. It's like, and I'm a car guy, so that's the funny thing. So, and like Grant is always like, this weekend, and he touched me. He's like, if you live like you're broke, it's like don't buy a new car, don't buy nothing until you have $1 million liquid in the bank.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's impactful. Like,
yeah, it is.
My mentor was telling me that he's I mean sitting on a lot of money and has nice things, but he's like, you shouldn't be buying, like, what are you doing? Why are you buying a $70 shirt? Even though I could very well afford it, he's like, it's a principle, So
yeah, my mentor is the same way. He's so humble and
and that's how you have to be.
Yeah, I mean, he drives a pretty cool car, but I mean, it's not brand new either.
Right.
It's used. So, and I remember my parents, they're involved in a couple of different network marketing businesses, and
you're telling me that.
And each time they would meet these high level marketers, and I remember one time there was this one guy, multi-millionaire, and they would get into his car, and they'd talk about how nice the car was. He's like, it's actually used, and we always buy just used cars, never buy a new.
I would never buy a new car. Depreciation just takes a hit. But even a used car, I mean, it's like
you don't need it.
I mean, I'm a car guy, so it's like, I mean, I've been looking. I went and I've test drove a couple of different Maseratis. I want to get into a Maserati Gran Turismo, and it's like, could I afford one now? The monthly payment one, absolutely. But it's like, why? Why do I need it for? That's money is going to make me way more in the long run if I invest it.
Yeah, it'd be cool for like about a month, and then after that.
Right. And it's like, why do I need to? At my age, why do I need to have that now? Like,
there's plenty of time in your life
to
own cool stuff.
And most of the guys that are driving are like 60 and retired.
Yeah.
So it's like, at that point, I can take the money that I could afford that with now. I can invest, and I can show up in a $2 million car at that point. So it's like, it's not about like having the $2 million car to me, but I'm just a car guy, so it's
right.
Yeah. So that's what's been. I would get that's I mean. That's the advice I would give to my younger self that I didn't realize at the time. Because I thought it was all about going out and buying a Ferrari or going out and hitting that level.
Yeah.
And it's really not about that. It's about loving the process.
That's good. I think that one of the things I would tell my younger self is is don't take life too seriously, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was always just so focused on the future and how um, the future's gonna be so much better than the present. But I think that the lesson needed to be learned was to appreciate the moment and what's going on right now, and being grateful.
I agree. And I mean, there's a lot of times where I'm just so amped up and towards that I don't even realize it.
Yeah.
I never shared this with anyone, but I kind of created a thing. No one's never seen anyone talk about this, but I have a thing in my life where it's like there's certain spots where I can go to that like just allow me to completely disconnect.
Yeah.
And so, it's funny, none of them are here in Atlanta. So like, I have one like South Point Pier in Miami. It's like I can go there and it's like nothing. It's like I'm free. I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm there. Like I'm not worried about anything else. I'm admiring the yachts that go by. I'm admiring the palm trees.
The sunset.
I'm admiring the waves crashing. It's like you have the city view. You have the ocean right there. The sunsets are beautiful there. I'm not really like a nature lover.
Yeah.
I'm not an outdoorsy guy. But like I can go there and it's like I can sit on a bench there and I can, for some reason that's like a spot where I can just disconnect and I can just be in love with what's going on around me.
Yeah.
And nowhere else, everywhere else, just on the go, on the go, on the go. And so I think that I don't think a lot of people, I've never heard anyone talk about that, but that's just one thing like I've always tried to like tell a couple of my friends and stuff. Like you have to have those spots in your life where it's like no matter what, if anything's going bad, it's like you can go to that spot and it's like you just know everything's gonna be fine.
That's I mean, there's spots like that for me too, but one just go to is just taking a walk.
Yeah, that's
like
powerful.
That's what I do every morning. It's and the more like if it's later in the day, I'll put in some headphones, listen to podcast music, that kind of thing. But in the morning, I don't even put anything in. I just walk and listen to the birds chirping in the morning, the wind blowing, that kind of thing, and it's just so therapeutic, and it gives you a chance to think through things
and really be in your thoughts rather than worrying about anything.
And so many people aren't comfortable being alone with their thoughts.
No. It scares them. It literally scares them. I'm like, what
scares them? I'm like, just take some time to be alone.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I enjoy now more. I enjoy being alone because I can like get shit done. I don't have to worry about other people. Like I just traveled recently. Like this past weekend, I'm so used to traveling alone, but I brought one of my partners with me. It's like I'm so glad that he came, but like it's like man, I was like no offense, but like I just wish I was alone right now because like I can get so much. I wasn't trying to be like a dick to him.
I know what you mean.
Just get more done. I don't have to worry. Like just focus.
Yeah, I just see so many people. They have problems going on in their life, issues at home or wherever, relationship issues, and they're so miserable. But then they won't take the time to, journal, write down what's going on in their minds, how to solve those issues. But if they just took some time to write out their thoughts, come up with a game plan of maybe how to fix that, they would be so much happier. I'm like, why aren't people doing this?
Literally what I do.
Yeah.
This book right here is just all of how to solve issues that I'm having.
Yeah.
Diagrams, like, okay, I'll think it through and be like, okay, what's going wrong? How do I fix it?
Yeah.
And then whether that be with like revenue, so that one's with like revenue of how to split it up. Pricing, so it's like, all right, if I'm having an issue with pricing, just breaking it down. Literally just breaking things down into weeks, everything like that.
It helps so
all
much
this notebook
see
is for.
Stuff in front of you.
This notebook is only for solving issues.
Yeah.
I carry that with me everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't everywhere. That notebook goes with me everywhere.
I carry this one everywhere.
Because no matter where if I'm thinking of something right now and it's like, oh shit, like bam, let me jot it because otherwise I'll lose it.
I know. It just blows my mind though. Like guys, if you're miserable right now, just take some time to be alone and
think it through.
Think it through. Be rational.
Yeah. And no one does that.
No.
It's crazy.
All right, man. Well, what's next on your list to do? Next big thing to accomplish.
Next big thing is I'm still building up my business. That's really what I'm working on.
This is Clique.
Yeah, so that's my main business, my digital marketing business. I have a couple of things that supplement that, but I'm trying to stay focused on just
Yeah.
that.
So how did you come up with this business, this idea?
Yeah, so I just transitioned I was already doing this. I was freelancing, so I just transitioned my clients that I was freelancing for into the agency.
Okay.
And started building that up, and I just rebranded about 4 months ago now.
Okay.
Into Cleek.
Yeah.
Because I had another company for a year, which was terrible name, terrible branding. I created a company just for the sake of creating a company that was like, okay, I need to create a company. So now Cleek is the way to go, and just building it up and grinding on that. Probably going to sell that eventually.
Yeah.
Because I love what I do right now, but I don't think I want to do it long term. Rather move into something else with some cash in my pocket that I can really start building up. So
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to stay there.
Yeah, so that's the goal. And I'm the kind of guy that needs change, so.
Yeah, I feel like too many people attach too much emotion to the businesses that they create.
They attach emotion to everything.
Yeah.
My mom was so upset about leaving the house, and I'm just like, it's a house.
It's like home is where the family is, not where the house is.
And she's still like, we're over a year and a half now. It's like she misses the house. I'm just like, it's a house.
Yeah.
You know. What is it? It's some walls and a couch.
Yeah,
I mean, when we took out all the furniture too. Because what is it? It's really just a wall, like some walls and a roof.
Yeah, just empty space.
Yeah, it's crazy. But when you start making decisions with emotion, it could be bad emotion, it could be good emotion. You're making the wrong decisions usually.
Yeah, especially. I know for me, I used to attach a lot of emotion to different things, and one of them being food. But once you stop attaching so much emotion to food, especially, I stopped eating as much and relying on food to be there for me when something would go wrong in my life.
Gotcha.
It's like almost like stress eating.
Right.
And a lot of people deal with that as well. But once you find a good positive outlet to
replace that.
Yeah, to replace that, like exercise.
What was the replacement for you?
So I started waking up. So there was some other stuff going on at the time too, like relationship. It just ended, that kind of thing. But I started waking up at 4:30 every morning.
Damn.
This is during high school. I would wake up at 4:30 every morning, work out. That was one of the main things I replaced it with. And reading and just anything I could do to better myself, and realizing that you can skip a meal. It's okay.
Yeah. It's actually good for you sometimes.
Yeah, it's actually good
fasting.
for you. Yeah. So that was one of the main things, and I think that it's the key to success. I think is trying to find out what things you can replace in your life to make your life better.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
What, and that could be tangible things, or it can be beliefs, limiting beliefs.
Right. And it's going to constantly evolve. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you put certain things in, it's like, okay, and get better and get better and get better. It's just going to constantly go up.
And my brother and I were talking about this the other day, and how in just a year or 5 years or 10 years, you can change so much about yourself.
Be a whole new person.
Whole new person.
I already consider myself a whole new person after the past 2 years.
Oh, yeah. I'm a totally different person than who I was in senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Crazy.
It's insane. And what I know now, and how I view things, how less judgmental I am towards other people, especially.
How you present yourself.
Oh,
even how you feel about yourself is completely different.
My self-image is so much better than it used to be. I'm probably the happiest I have ever been right now in my life than I have ever
That's
been.
awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
And it's not just luck, or
you work towards it,
or just being born happy. It's like
you gotta work towards it.
That's
it boggles my mind when people don't realize that. Like they're like, oh well, like I'm depressed, I'm not happy. I get it. Like there's some people out there that are going through some really hard shit. Like it's fine to be like that, but it's like the people that are just like constantly like, oh I'm not happy, I'm not fulfilled. It's like, what are you doing to work towards it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just kind of just chilling. What do you expect?
If you want things to change, you got to change.
Yeah.
And I always love this one thing that Tony Robbins said. Like I built this mofo.
Yeah.
Like I didn't I didn't get to this place by chance. You know,
Right.
This is a result of daily habits of waking up, practicing gratitude, working out, being nice to people, building relationships with people, looking for win-win situations, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's most of the battle is just showing up.
Yeah, and forgetting putting yourself aside.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I think we're
Pretty good.
we're getting close to an ending here, unless you want to bring up a topic that you're dying to bring up.
Oh, I pretty much covered it. I was just fired up. Still
Yeah,
am,
I
so
know. I still am. We'll have to do this again, man. We'll have to get you back on the show soon,
That'd be awesome.
especially since you're in Woodstock.
I know.
It's so close.
So
That's
close.
actually where my mentor lives.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a company, Alexander and Company. It's like a benefits program for education,
Okay.
like for teachers and things like that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we'll have to hook up soon.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Good.
Until next time.
Awesome.